Simulation team. If y'all can hear me, thanks so much for all your hard work today. Appreciate you guys doing all this for us. If you can't hear me, then I'll talk to myself. That's fine. I'm used to it.
Next Level Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the Simulation Football League.
The kickoff to the 19th season of the Simulation Football League continues in South Florida. Convention action continues with the first of two meetings in a newly minted East Division rivalry. Featuring two postseason teams from a season ago, it's the Louisiana Revolution taking on the Florida Storm. And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Eye in Fort Lauderdale. I'm Tim Hackett, and on behalf of the whole cast of the SFL and the entire crew at Next Level Sports, welcome back to the 2022 SFL Convention live from HyperX Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's officially Block 2 of 3. Let's get ready to rumble. It's the fourth all-time matchup between these two franchises, and this contest will bookend this regular season, Week 1 and Week 14. These two teams flipping home fields and playing in the Bayou in Week 14 to close the regular season. And with how competitive this new-look East Division figures to be, there's a good chance that these two contests, this one and the one in Week 14, will go a long way towards deciding how the East Division landscape shakes out. 4 more games coming your way here in Block 2, and we are just about ready to go. Absolutely stoked to be here with you live from Las Vegas. It's been a fun week so far, and this night is just beginning. Louisiana and their home whites will receive Florida at home, wherein the All Blues will kick off. Ethan Sneed has the ball on the tee, and we are underway in Block 2 from HyperX Arena in 2022. A couple of new kick returners for these two new division foes will suit up for the first time, and this is the rookie Rego Dinero with his first career SFL kick return, and he will bring the Revs out to the 22-yard line. So a very new-looking offense for Gerald Smith, Brian Craven, Ross Napoli, and the whole crew for the Louisiana Revolution. Tommy Utah is the holdover, his third season as the starting quarterback for the team based in the Bayou, but the cast around him looks totally different. On the offense, 4 total returners and 5 total newcomers. And now it's the Squarebush show. Randy Squarebush with his first carry as the feature back for the Louisiana Revolution. And it's good for a gain of 14 yards. That's a way to start your official pro career. He was the number 2 running back for this Revolution team last year, running sidecar along with Colin Hart, but Colin Hart departs to be the new feature back for one of the expansion teams, the Minnesota Legend, which are making its debut later on in this block, coming up in a few minutes with Stephen Hacker against Canton. And now it's the Squarebush show here for Louisiana. Utah will air it out, and it's picked off. His first pass of the season is intercepted by Ryan Davidson. Down the sidelines he goes. Touchdown, Florida! On the first pass of the season, Ryan Davidson takes Tommy Utah back to the end zone, and Florida strikes first on defense. Looking for Lyric Da Vinci, one of those newcomers, on a deep flare route, and Ryan Davidson, the 10th-year veteran corner, just sitting back on that route, and a couple of offensive linemen were the Revs' only prayer to stop him, and they could not. Davidson back to the house, a guy who's in the top 12 in SFL history in pass deflections, interceptions, and touchdowns. That was interception number 51 in his vaunted career, 4-time All-Star, and he makes his mark early on just the second play from scrimmage of this season. And Ethan Snead, who barely got time to go towel off after that kickoff, is back in to kick the extra point, and Florida with an early 7-0 lead. Well, as a defense, you can only hope to force a reset like that for your offense, which doesn't even have to take the field yet because of that pick 6 courtesy of Ryan Davidson. Yet another touchdown in his illustrious career. This Florida secondary is so experienced and so good, even though they've made a couple of significant changes on the defensive side that we'll talk about. But one of those holdovers, Ryan Davidson, with one of the biggest plays of this game already. Again, not a lot of room for Rego Dinero on the return. So let's get you introduced to the Louisiana offense. Again, a lot of new faces for this Revs team that went 8-4 and got all the way to the SFL semifinals a season ago. But this offense is very different. Tommy Utah is the quarterback. Randy Squarebush is the starting tailback. Cameron Collier is the fullback. No changes there. Chase Earl is the wide receiver, his 5th season playing for Louisiana, but all of the other pass catchers for Tommy Utah are brand new. Let's see what he can do. His second pass attempt of this season. Into traffic again, and his receiver was taken down on the play. No call. Pressure applied by Alessandro Tomaello, the defensive end for Florida, right into the backfield from Tommy Utah. Nobody home. Certainly not anybody wearing the Louisiana white and green. The rest of the offense for Gerald Smith and Brian Craven, the offensive coordinator, looks like this. The rest of the wide receivers, Lyric Da Vinci, former tight end for Charleston, and a couple of rookies, Rego Dinero and Salvatore Napoli, and a pair of tight ends, John Michael Suddeth and Levy Lease. That's the offense for Louisiana, which early trails 7-0. Utah going this way. There's his first completion of the season to the veteran on this team, Chase Earl. Nice pickup and a first down. Ryan Davidson makes that tackle once again. He's been busy so far. Here is the defense for Florida. Art Vandelay now the coach all across the board for Florida. Head coach, offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator. Subbing in now, supplanting the longtime head man and still the owner of Florida, Max Paul. Utah to throw again. Over the middle he goes. That's caught. John Michael Suddeth with his first catch as a member of the Revolution. Spent his rookie season with Baltimore. And he's on the board, good for 8 yards there. 2nd and 2 coming up. Here is the Florida defense. Not a lot of changes for them, at least in terms of personnel. The line, Deontay Stoneville, Alessandro Tomaello, and Alex Dominguez. The linebackers, Stephen Black, Aaron Gooden, the newcomer, and Ryan Tobin, who makes the move from free safety. 2nd and 2. Utah to the out route, top of the screen this time. Quick catch, and then immediately tagged is Chase Earl after he makes his second catch of this first drive. The rest of the Florida defense, this secondary has been their bellwether for the brunt of this success. 3-time champs. They've been in the title game in 2 of the last 3 seasons, coming up short twice, yes, but the Storm are one of the preeminent franchises in this SFL, no question about it. Fresh set of downs for Utah, looking for Suddeth again, and somehow John Michael Suddeth pulls that one in. The pass was behind him, and somehow he spins around and makes an excellent catch. I was hoping we would get another look at it, but we won't. It's a great catch from Sudduth with the spin move to turn around into traffic. A dot from Utah to find a way through that defense somehow. Inside the 40 they go. Here goes Squarebush, looking to power through again, lowers the shoulder, and Randy Squarebush with the gain of 8 on first down. Brought down at the end of the run by Adrian Blaine, who is the youngest member of this Florida secondary. Here's the rest. Evan Carroll and Ryan Davidson, the veteran corners, both in the league for 10-plus seasons, as well as Andrew Francis, the strong safety, his 11th season. Adam Jones, another one of the corners, his 5th season. And Adrian Blaine, who you just saw, second-year free safety. Another 2nd and 2. Utah quick step, toss to the screen. He goes, and out of bounds, they say, on the catch by Levy Lease. So it will not be the first career catch for the rookie out of Albuquerque, Levy Lease. They say he stepped out of bounds. Utah led him a little bit too much. We see that quick hitter to the tight end a lot, and both of these two teams now running the 2 tight end set, which is becoming more and more prevalent here in the SFL now in its 19th season. And that's now an outlet for teams to use, but the link up there between Utah and Lease not on the same page that time. 3rd down, they'll run it with Randy Squarebush, and he's got the first down. Powering through, the veteran, Big Sexy they call him, Alex Dominguez, as well as the middle linebacker Stephen Black, but no problem for Randy Squarebush, who has spent 4 seasons as a tailback in the SFL minor leagues, now his 2nd season in the pros, and looking to showcase that he can be the stud tailback that everybody expected he might be when he was drafted last season. Utah has all day to throw, but throws it into traffic and throws it right into the hands of Ryan Davidson. He will take it back the other way again. Squarebush is on his heels, but he won't catch him. 2nd pick 6 of the first quarter for Ryan Davidson. What an unbelievable start for this Florida defense, and especially for Ryan Davidson. Again, all day for Utah, and he had a target open. That was Lease, I believe, again, the tight end, trying to check that. It's 85. That's Sudduth, the other tight end, streaking out on a quick out on the right side, and Davidson just in a flat zone sat right there and barely had to move. Utah threw it right into his hands. And a quarterback in Tommy Utah, who only threw 21 interceptions last season, 6th fewest in the SFL, has already thrown 2 in the first 4 minutes of season 19. Snead taking his time with this PAT. Buries it, no surprise there. What a start defensively for Florida. And after they got that first pick 6, after just 2 plays on Louisiana's opening drive, that time they march down the field. They get firmly into enemy territory. A couple of pickups on 2nd and 2. Randy Squarebush with the pickup on 3rd down. But it all comes up with nothing for Louisiana. Another interception and another interception return for a score for Ryan Davidson. This is something you see with relative frequency in this league, but by relative frequency, you don't expect 2 times in the first 4 minutes. Dinero with a good return this time. Can't quite shake through the second wave of the storm, brought down at the end of the run by Pierre Lyon, defensive end, and Dinero will get Louisiana out to the 30-yard line, and that's exactly what an offense needs to finally get itself situated. They've been rocked. You have to be emotionally just seeing what's transpired. Florida hasn't even taken the field on offense, and they're up 14-0. It's like you're starting with a handicap. And now Utah and company have to right the ship. From the 30-yard line, Utah is picked off again. Back-to-back interceptions, and 3 now in the first 4 minutes and 4 seconds. This time it's Andrew Francis. This time it's excellent defense. Francis jumps in and cuts off Lyric Da Vinci. Excellent work one-on-one by the veteran safety. Da Vinci now on that tackle. And the first 2 interceptions, frankly, were not good throws from Utah. That one, yeah, it was inside on his target, a slanting Da Vinci, but great work to pick it off by Francis. He had 5 interceptions a season ago, and he's on the board here in season 19. So the first throw of the game for Ron Cochran, Not a surprise that it's coming 4 minutes and change in, but he did not expect to be up 14-0 by the time he attempted his first pass of his 11th season in the SFL. And speaking of 11, number 11, Stephen Bush, is on the catch. His 10th season in the SFL and his 6th with the Florida Storm. Of the worst stat season of his career, Stephen Bush, and hoping to be a figurehead for Florida as they try to get back to the playoffs once again, someplace they have been almost every season of their existence. Cochran will flip it short and hit in the backfield, blown up. That play by on Charlie Boletsky, the first time we've gotten to talk about him, the reigning SFL MVP. Again, talk about unfamiliar territory. First time your reigning league MVP touches the ball, and his team is up 14-0. But the first time he touches the ball this season goes for a loss of 2. Blake B. Craze, the linebacker, with the hit in the backfield. Now 3rd and 7 from the 45. Cochran is plastered as he throws, but he's able to get the throw off, and they'll score. Another touchdown for Florida. The offense comes through this time. Stephen Bush, 55 yards. Ron Cochran weathered the storm from Louisiana, absolutely got plastered, but Bush with the deep post between the secondary, Tank Bennett and Rolliman Hood, you see them chasing behind. No chance to catch Stephen Bush, and off of the worst season of his pro career, Bush with 2 catches on Florida's first offensive drive and a touchdown. The first on the offensive end for Florida, and it is 20-0 the Storm. Again, they'll take their time, and Snead's PAT is up and good. This is the 4th all-time meeting between these two franchises. The home team has won each of the previous 3. Last season, the first game that was played between these two teams in the state of Louisiana, the Revs, of course, won that one, their first win in the head-to-head, a thriller that came down to the wire. Louisiana led for most of that game. Florida then rallied and took the lead in the 4th quarter, and Otis Boudreaux, as he often did, delivered the win for Louisiana with a field goal in the final minutes. But unfortunately for Louisiana, this game so far is looking a lot more like the first time these two teams met. We're just 5 minutes into this game, but the first time these two teams ever met was this time 3 years ago, July 2019, week 1 of season 13 of the SFL. This is now season 19. It was these two franchises, but not these two teams, the Alaska Storm and the New Orleans Pharaohs, and Alaska won that game 40-7. And right now, Florida on top of Louisiana, 21-0. So Randy Squarebush will get the give. And this is what you're looking for to try to just get your offense settled, and especially seeing as the damage, frankly, has been done because of the interceptions thrown by Tommy Utah. He's now thrown 3. Again, 21 interceptions all last season. And he has set his team back. And it was a very efficient Florida drive to help them punctuate their first points on offense as well. Here goes Squarebush. The middle he goes, and a nice run for Randy Squarebush. Gain of about 6 that time. It'll be 3rd down and 1. A couple of teams have tried what Louisiana did last year, run a 3 tailback set essentially with 2 running backs and a fullback. But back to the standard tailback and a fullback setup this year. The toss out to the tailback, that is Squarebush. Gets a nice block to lead the way from number 60, that's Ross Eilipin, one of the guards for Louisiana, and that helps Randy Squarebush pick up that first down. Would not have been possible without the blocks from Eilipin, the guard, and Doc Smith, the center, to help Randy Squarebush pick up that first down. Any sort of traction that the Revs can gain on this drive is a positive. And, of course, if they can score something and cut into this lead, all the better. Here goes Squarebush. He powers up the middle and picks up 6. It was a solid freshman season for Squarebush last year. 92 carries, 393 yards, an average of 4.3 yards per carry. Just 2 rushing touchdowns, and 11 receptions, 53 yards, and 1 touchdown through the air. So averaged about 8.5 touches and 37 yards per game as one of those 3 featured backs. He'll get the carry here, and he is wrapped up. Excellent tackle in the backfield by Ryan Tobin in his first game as a linebacker. This is the storyline for me to watch defensively for Florida this season. We mentioned that veteran secondary for the Storm. You got those 5 players who had been playing together for 4+ seasons. Throw Adrian Blaine into the mix last season, now her second year in the league. But Tobin defects from the secondary and becomes a linebacker, his first tackle for loss at his new position. Utah on 3rd and 7 throws. It's caught by Earl, but they stop him short of the sticks. Another one of those veteran members of the secondary, Evan Carroll, was there to lead the charge defensively. And Earl is stopped inches short of the line to gain. So now what's the strategy for Gerald Smith and company? As the Louisiana head coach down 21-0 in the first quarter, they're going to punt it away. It's too early to be chasing points even though you're down 21, and so Walter Melanishin will punt it away. This is a beauty. Way back at a difficult return. The first one we will see for Art Vandelay, now officially wearing the Florida dark blue. And his first return as a member of the Storm in his first game now as a rostered member. They brought Art over from Portland ahead of last season to join the coaching ranks. This season he brings his player back into the mix to be the wide receiver 3 for Ron Cochran. He was not needed in that first drive because it was so succinct, ending up in the touchdown for Stephen Bush. Ron Cochran back to work from the 22-yard line. Play action to Boletsky. He'll throw it this way. Nice catch out on the side for Ron Haynes. The rookie tight end makes his first career SFL catch. Welcome to the league. And a gain of 7. So here is the offense for Art Vandelay and company and the Florida Storm. Ron Cochran is the quarterback, his 11th season as the signal caller. Charlie Boletsky is the tailback. J.W. Doyle is the fullback. Tight ends, Veridin Zarkov and Ron Haynes, who you just heard from. Cochran will throw on 2nd and 3, top of the screen. That's caught. Another first down for Florida. It feels like they can do no wrong. And how about this first quarter for Stephen Bush already? His 3rd catch, and the machine head is starting to rev it up. The wide receivers, you've heard from 2 of them already. That was Stephen Bush, his 10th season in the SFL. Art Vandelay and E.J. Minson, who had a career season in season 17. His first season as one of the featured wide receivers for Florida. Now from the 36, pump fake from Cochran. He throws into traffic, and Louisiana returns serve. An interception for the Revs on defense. It's Dante Grimm who pulls one back. Second-year strong safety, had 2 picks and a touchdown as a rookie, and a beautiful read on that one. Undercuts Art Vandelay perfectly, and Ron Cochran threw it right to him. And after Utah threw picks on his first 3 possessions, it's Grimm now taking one back. The Grim Reaper, as they call him, strikes here in South Florida to get Louisiana across midfields for the second time today. And that might be the momentum shifter, if you believe in that, for this Revs offense. Utah calling out the signals. Look at Florida spread it out defensively. 2 in the backfield, and a quick toss from Utah out this way. And a catch for Rego Dinero. The rookie has his first SFL reception and a gain of 8. Ryan Davidson again on that stop. Quick burst off the line for this rookie. 29 catches, 362 yards, and a touchdown. Playing with Gene Struthers and the Annapolis Navigators in the minor leagues the last couple of months. Finally gets to make his break into the SFL big leagues. One of the 5 new members of this offense for Tommy Utah and company. Again, only 1 pass catcher returns from last season. A new look team, to say the least. 2nd and 2, Utah zips it, tipped, and then nearly picked by Aaron Gooden. That was swatted on its initial trajectory out. I couldn't catch who the receiver was on the top side. Probably Chase Earl. It's normally where he resides. And it was swatted initially, I believe, by Tobin. And then Aaron Gooden, the other linebacker, was right there to try to get a piece of it. Get a piece of it he did, but not able to haul it in. Utah able to avoid his 4th interception, at least for now. Stephen Black, 42 in blue, showing blitz up the middle. He will pull off on 3rd down, again into traffic. Utah is swatted away by Stephen Black, who bluffed the blitz, dropped back into coverage, and makes the play defensively to break that pass on 3rd down, and now a 4th down situation for the Revs for the first time here this season. They did punt technically on a 4th down situation earlier, and now they will bring the offense back out there. Clock stops at 1:14. Do they dare risk this? They're within field goal range, if barely, for Otis Boudreaux. And now Utah will, in fact, call the timeouts with the play clock dipping down. First timeout called by either team today. And now we will see, presumably, now it is no man's land for most kickers here in the SFL. This would be about a 51-yarder, give or take. But you've got the reigning special teams player of the year in your employ in Otis Boudreaux. So do you trot him out to try to get your team on the board? I think you have to here. A lot of teams that don't have faith in their kickers would punt it from this neck of the woods. But Louisiana just might have the best kicker in the SFL on their roster. And so Otis Boudreaux will trot out to attempt to kick from about 50 yards away. Snap from Doc Smith, hold from Wiska Lafouche, and the kick from Otis Boudreaux is good, no problem. From 51 yards, the reigning SFL Special Teams Player of the Year is on the board in Season 19. Number 19, Boudreaux, 5th-year kicker, resides in scenic Hickory, North Carolina, and a record-setting season in Season 18 for number 19. 35 field goals made, breaking the previous SFL record of 34 that was set a couple of seasons prior. Just barely broke it in the end. Got it in week 14 to break that record. And a deep kick into the end zone. Don't see that very often. And Vandelay will try to return it, and he gets stuck at the 22-yard line. Another benefit that having a big-time kicker like Boudreaux can bring a team like that. He pins Florida back deep. But finally, Louisiana is on the board. So the two teams taking advantage of their takeaways. Florida with all of their points off of those 3 interceptions, and Louisiana now able to get 3 points off of theirs. 1 minute and 5 seconds left in quarter number 1. Here's Charlie Boletsky. He jumps over the first defender, and picks up 5. Let's introduce you to the Louisiana defense with 1 minute left in the first quarter. Not a lot of changes for them on this side of the ball, even though there were so many changes on offense. The defensive line, Leonard Butler Sr., Brian Craven, Chance Wall, and the rookie Neil Rivers. The linebackers, Slyn Shady moves back inside to join the outside backers, Blake B. Craze and Nathan Blake. 2nd down and 5. Here's Boletsky again, and Louisiana is ready for him again. Nathan Blake, the aforementioned linebacker, welcome back to the fold. He hasn't played in the SFL since season 16. Took the last 2 seasons off, returns back to his old stopping grounds with Louisiana, and stops the reigning SFL MVP for a loss of 2. The second time that we've seen the bullet get stuck in the chamber in this first quarter. Last play of the quarter, you would think Cochran's pass is caught, but short of the sticks by a couple of yards by Jose Galeano, one of the backup wideouts for Florida, and Louisiana ends the first quarter on a high note. It will be 4th down for the Storm when we come back. You're watching the Simulation Football League live from HyperX Arena in Las Vegas. Welcome back to the Eye in Fort Lauderdale. Tim Hackett here with you live. And pleasure to be here with you from HyperX Arena in Las Vegas, some 3,500 miles away from Fort Lauderdale, where the Storm have resided for the last handful of seasons. After winning 3 championships in Alaska, they move across the country and have continued their eminence in the league. As we mentioned, season championship appearances in season 16 and season 17, back in the playoffs last year. They fully expect to be there again. The Storm franchise, whether they're in Florida or Alaska, have only missed the playoffs once all time. Louisiana, meanwhile, on the other side of it, off of one of the best seasons in their franchise history. They were 8-4 last season, earned a first-round bye as one of the top 4 teams in the playoffs, got all the way to the SFL semifinals before losing to Baltimore, the eventual champs. Squarebush gets that toss, and he's taken down by Aaron Gooden, one of the newcomers of this Florida defense, which is largely intact, only a couple of changes for Florida on either side, really. And so Aaron Gooden comes in to fill one of the voids at linebacker. Ryan Tobin fills the other, as we mentioned. Gooden spent his rookie season with DC, 73 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, and 7 pass deflections as a linebacker as a rookie with the Dragons. Gets a tackle for loss there on Squarebush. Utah, with some pressure, floats it up, and it's brought in by Lyric Da Vinci. This is such an interesting offseason acquisition for Louisiana. Lyric Da Vinci spent his first 5 seasons as the #1 tight end for the Charleston Predators. Exactly 600 receiving yards for him a season ago, and now he's got to catch his first season as a wide receiver. Gets about 4. They're down at 7 here for Utah. Short drop, feels the heat, fires! First down, right out to the midfield stripe. Needed 7, got 17. Back-to-back catches for Lyric Da Vinci. And the Revs move the chains. Wow, Utah feeling the heat, as we say, from Alex Dominguez. Bull rushing right down the middle of the fields. But Utah able to stay in and fire over the middle for Da Vinci. In his 5 seasons with Charleston, Da Vinci's numbers are quite similar to Earl's first 5 seasons over his SFL career. Kind of interesting, despite playing different positions. Here goes Squarebush. Randy Squarebush shakes out of a tackle, breaks out of another one, and gets out to the 29-yard line. The best run of the day for Randy Squarebush, given 21 yards before he's stopped by Aaron Gooden. Trucks through Adrian Blaine's second-year safety, and Gooden finally brings an end to that good run. It's the Squarebush show now for Louisiana, running sidecar to Colin Hart in that 3-back set last season, trying to make himself the star of the show. A solid start for him. Utah pump fakes, fires towards the end zone. It's caught! Touchdown! John Michael Suddeth. Welcome to the Bayou. The Revs are into the end zone for the first time in season 19. What a dot from Utah. Finally gets some good protection, and then Suddeth with the streak down the middle of the pitch, right past Adrian Blaine, who has been on the wrong side of back-to-back plays on that drive. And John Michael Suddeth, who had just 1 receiving touchdown as the #2 tight end last season for the league champion Baltimore Vultures, has a touchdown in his Louisiana debut. A Revolution on a bit of a run now, and Boudreaux, who is as automatic as it gets. PATs are pretty much a sure thing here in the SFL, but certainly no guarantee. But with Boudreaux back there, it's pretty much a guarantee, it feels like, and that is 10 unanswered points for the Revs. After Florida scored the first 21, including 2 pick sixes from Ryan Davidson. It's been an absolute pleasure to be part of the SFL for the last 2 calendar years. I've been here since season 15, and what I continue to learn is that you never know what you're going to see next. You see things that you never see before in this league. How about 2 pick sixes to start the scoring in a game? In this league, you might see 2 interceptions returned for a touchdown over the course of a game. I'm sure I've seen that before, and I know that it has happened in this league plenty of times, but 2 pick sixes to start the game is not something I've ever seen before in football. We owe you an introduction to the Louisiana secondary, so let's get that to you now before it gets out of hand. I'll get it to you after this play. 2-back set with Ron Cochran directly under center, trying to stem the tide that the Revs have started to swell. Cochran, now he's feeling the heat, shakes out of the first hit, but can't get away from the second one. Leonard Butler Sr. with the first sack of season 19. The pressure gets to Ron Cochran that time. Look at his numbers. They're fantastic so far, but the offensive line could not hold up, and that was a problem for both of these teams in season 18. It's already started to rear its head here today. Loss of 3, and Cochran is hit again. They say he's able to get the ball out of his hands first, but Brian Craven, the coach, with a crushing hit. 3rd down and long. Here is the Louisiana defense. The corners are Even Arthur and Rolliman Hood, a couple of veterans. The safeties, Mike Ryan off of a standout season, and Tank Bennett, the league veteran, and the second-year corner, Dante Grimm, who had the interception earlier that led to the Louisiana field goal to get them on the board. Longest 3rd down situation for Florida, so they'll go empty backfield. 4 wides and a tight end. Cochran drops back, under pressure, and down he goes again. Another sack on this possession for Leonard Butler Sr. The Revs dial up the heat. They get to Cochran 3 times in a row, and they sack him twice. The Butler did it. 2 sacks in 3 plays. Absolutely smokes the rookie left tackle, Caden Poirier. Florida has been one of the teams that has invested in the offensive line consistently. Joseph Wade and Greg McDonaldson have both been on this team for 4 seasons now. And now the rookie, Caden Poirier, joining the mix as the left tackle, but no match for Leonard Butler Sr. on that play. Returnable here for Dinero, but he is wrapped up nicely immediately by Ramel Hernandez, stopping up any chance of a return for the rookie. So 10 unanswered points for the Revs, and now they've got the ball back. It was all Florida early, but something else you learn quickly in this league is that it's never over until it's over. And I feel like I tell people that in chat all the time. They think that the game's out of hand. And sometimes it is, but all too often it isn't. It's a ball game now, especially if the Revs can do something here. Oh, almost spoke too soon. Utah threw it into traffic and swatted away. Guess who? Ryan Davidson was there again. Didn't quite get both hands around it that time, but is able to swat it away. Great season for him last year. 2 tackles for loss, 9 pass deflections, and 7 picks. Again, he's top 12 all time in pass deflections, picks, and defensive touchdowns. His running mate, Evan Carroll, is top 5 in all 3 of those categories. 2 of the best and certainly the longest serving corners in league history. 2nd and 10. Here goes Squarebush, and he runs right into the secondary. Excellent defense by Florida. The aforementioned Evan Carroll was there along with Adrian Blaine. No gain. Randy Squarebush, yes, as the number 2 tailback, only made 11 catches in the regular season last year. He's already made 3 or 4 here in this game, but that play has not worked for Louisiana this evening. On 3rd and 10, Utah will loft it up, and it's intercepted. The Hats will fly out in the eye. 3 interceptions for Ryan Davidson in the first half of week 1. Again, now just a short throw that time from Utah, but undercut beautifully by Davidson, who has another one to add to the tally. 50 interceptions flat coming into action today. 3 in the first quarter and 4 minutes. 15 minutes and 5 seconds of game time. 3 interceptions for Ryan Davidson. Now Charlie Boletsky. This might well be his first carry of the game. They threw it to him a couple of times, but Boletsky finally gets a give, and that will finally give us the opportunity to talk about what a special season it was for Boletsky. His 3rd season as the starting tailback for the Storm, and had one of the best seasons that a running back could have. Between him and Ezekiel Love, it was tough to determine for me the best tailback, but the community decided that it was Boletsky who was not just the best tailback, but the best player in the league. And that's a nice link up for a first down as Cochran hits Art Vandelay. Welcome to the show. His first catch as a member of the Storm. A couple of solid years in the wide receiver room for Portland, the team that drafted him from the Ottawa Cavalry, which were the runners-up in the first season of the minor league. So Art joining a couple of other former minor league standouts with Portland for his first 3 seasons. Again, did not play last season, but he's back with his first catch as a member of the Storm. The Revs show blitz, they pull it off. Cochran fires, and E.J. Midson has his first catch of the season and a gain of 9. Back to Boletsky. 249 carries. I was 11th in the league, but 1,479 rushing yards. I was second best in the league. So second most rushing yards despite having the 11th most carries, and that helped him to an average of 5.9 yards per carry. That was the best among running backs that played the full season. 2nd and 1, and Cochran goes down again. 3 sacks in the last 2 possessions for Louisiana. This one courtesy of Chance Wall. And that is one of the biggest storylines for Louisiana this season. Luther Gond becomes Luther Gone. He leaves to join Fort Worth. After an all-star season last season, he's gone, and so Chance Wall is now the #1 defensive tackle, and he's got his first sack of the season. 3rd and 5, they will run it to Boletsky. Boletsky spins out of the first hit, but can't get away from Slyn Shady. The veteran Englishman with his first tackle of the season brings down Boletsky 3 yards short of the line to gain. It's not a surprise that Florida might try to run it with Charlie Boletsky on 3rd down and medium, but even though the first 2 members of the Revs front were not able to stop him, Slyn Shady was able to make sure that the 3rd time was not the charm for Boletsky. And so now Florida will trot out Ethan Sneed. This will be about a 52-yarder. Boudreaux is already made from 51, and Sneed equals Ethan Sneed from 51 himself. 2 of the best kickers in the SFL on display here this evening. And Ethan Sneed is on the board, his first field goal of the season. And Florida stems the tide a little bit, snaps that 10-0 Louisiana run. Sneed was great last season, 23 makes in 24 attempts, 96%. Top 10 in the league in both. His career, he's only missed 3 field goals in 5 seasons, 98% success rate, and he's 33 makes from 3rd all-time, a position occupied by Hall of Famer Kramer Jackman. And you imagine that Sneed has the opportunity, the ability to hit that mark this season, though that would be difficult. As we said, Boudreaux has the record for field goals made in a season with 35 that he set last year. So both of these stalwart kickers are on the board here in season 19, and Florida goes back up 24-10. The Storm have scored all 24 of their points off of the 4 interceptions thrown by Tommy Utah. No coincidence. Here goes Squarebush, lowers the shoulder and runs right into a pair of defenders stood up by Stephen Black. 83 tackles, including a sack, and 3 tackles for loss. 11 passes defensed for Stephen Black in sophomore season. And he's been a nice addition to the middle of this Florida's defensive linebacking core, which has seen a lot of turnover over the last couple of years, but Black trying to hold it down. Utah now trying to uncork it, and he will, all the way out to the 45-yard line. They'll spot Chase Earl at the 44. A blast from Tommy Utah. And Chase Earl with the biggest catch of his season so far. High points at one-on-one against Evan Carroll. That is not an easy matchup with Adrian Blaine hot on their heels. But fit in beautifully there by Tommy Utah to move the sticks on 2nd and 8. Fresh set of downs. Utah tosses it out again. They'll try to go to Squarebush. Squarebush breaks away from Black, but Stephen Black, credit to him, rebounds from missing that tackle, gets back up onto his feet, and helps to haul down Randy Squarebush and limit him, if you will, to a gain of 8. He could have made that first hit and stopped him in the backfield, but he didn't, but he did the next best thing, prevented Squarebush from breaking off a big gain. That's the first time that toss into the flats has really worked for the Revs today. Offset eye. Here goes Squarebush running right tackle, breaking through Aaron Gooden and able to motor forward and get the first down. Tomaello is able to help bring him down. 5 tackles now for Gooden, but Squarebush is able to get the first down. So get the numbers for Gooden as a linebacker with DC, very similar last year to what Tobin did as a free safety. Good in 73 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 7 pass deflections. Similar to what Tobin did as Utah is taken down. Stephen Black is at the scene of the crime once again. Tomaello is there to help lead the charge, and Stephen Black with a home run as he just took Utah out of the park. The defenses are starting to rev it up here in the second quarter. We saw the Revs get a trio of sacks earlier in this period, and now the Florida defense starting to break through. We mentioned sacks were a big problem for both of these two teams. They combined to allow 60 sacks between them a season ago. Utah at 2nd and 17. Nice complete. No, they'll say incomplete. It was into the hands of Da Vinci, it looked like, but it fell through. Adam Jones on the coverage. Let's take another look. Wow, swatted away. Brilliant breakup from Adam Jones. It hit him in the hands, placed perfectly by Utah, but Jones reaches in and swats it away. But back to the sack issues. Florida conceded 28 sacks. That was tied for second most in the league. Louisiana was the only team to concede more, 32 sacks allowed by the Revs a season ago. Again, 60 combined by these two teams, and by my count, that's 5 combined sacks already here in the first half. Utah 3rd and 17, it's caught. Da Vinci makes that catch, but only for a gain of 15 before he tiptoes out of bounds under his own volition. 4th down coming up, 2-minute warning from the eye. You're watching the SFL live from HyperX Arena in Las Vegas. Well, it was a 3rd and 17 situation, but Lyric Da Vinci is only able to get 15 yards. And now this is no man's land. And not a surprise to me, not even Otis Boudreau is going to attempt a field goal from this distance. This would be from about 53. And so Walter Melanishian is going to come out and try to pin the Storm into the corner. High hanging punt. And it's fielded at the 6. Oh, forward momentum. Didn't quite work that way for Florida, or for Louisiana, I beg your pardon. That was fielded extremely well by Tank Bennett, who is a special team standout in addition to all of the excellent work that he does on defense. One of the best strong safeties in the SFL and a 4-time All-Star. Also plays on special teams. You see that from superstars in this league occasionally. Bennett certainly applies on both fronts. So from the 6-yard line, and that's exactly what Louisiana wanted. The forward progress did not let Bennett start this drive at the 3-yard line, but the second play of this drive will start at the 3-yard line. That's even better for the Revs. Blake B. Craze with that stop. And just like Nathan Blake, who we talked about earlier, who took off a couple of seasons from the league, Craze did the same thing. Did not play in season 17 before returning last year. Cochran from the end zone is able to get it out and somehow pulled out from Stephen Bush, who's having a great game so far. You see the numbers there. 4 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown. Just over 500 receiving yards for Bush a season ago. Just a solid receiver. He's never been to an All-Star game, which is a surprise to me, but fittingly a guy who does all the little things. And on 3rd down, perfectly done. Cochran links up with the Shark, Veridin Zarkov, with his first catch of the season, and the Storm able to move the sticks. Florida was solid on 3rd downs a season ago, 57%. The 11th best mark in the league, and that sounds really good, but it was the first time that the Storm were not in the top 10 in that metric since season 14. But they convert here, but down goes Cochran again. Another sack for the Revs. Chance Wall has his second. Just 2 sacks for him last year in his second season in the SFL. Running sidecar to Luther Gond, who is one of the best defensive tackles in the league. It's Wall's show now. They've started to build that wall. And Chance showing why they've taken a chance on him. Another completion to Stephen Bush. Give him 13 yards on 2nd down and a mile. And Florida is going to make this 3rd down a whole lot more manageable. Fantastic protection that time for Cochran. The second-year safety, Dante Grimm, not fast enough to catch up to Bush, but that's going to end the half. Florida had all 3 timeouts, but was deep back in its own territory, and that came up on us in a hurry. That'll end the half. An exciting first half. It looked like it could be lopsided, but Louisiana rallies slightly. The Revs win that quarter 7-3, and after one half of play, it's 24-10. Revolution trailing. Short halftime show, 79 receiving yards and a touchdown in that first half for Stephen Bush, but we're going to move it right along into the second half. Happy to have you with us. Tim Hackett here with you live. Broadcast originating from HyperX Arena in Las Vegas. And shouts out to everybody involved in this production. Cameron Irvine, Mike Daggs, Andrew Rastelli, and the rest of the SFL brass, and all of the crew here at Next Level Sports who have helped to make this a reality. You say dreams to reality, you really mean it in a situation like this. We're live on stage in Las Vegas at a premier esports arena, bringing this virtual sport to you live, to your homes across the country and across the world. It's a privilege to be here. I'm grateful for the opportunity. 2 teams that made the playoffs a season ago, expecting they might get back there this year, certainly anticipating that would be the case for 2 of the better franchises in the league. Charlie Boletsky with the first play of the second half and a spin move before he's finally shoved out after a gain of 8. You see it there, only a couple of touches for Boletsky, a guy that averaged 27 touches and 159 total yards last season, one of the best do-it-all backs in the league. And to Louisiana's credit, they have really shut him down so far. Well, of course, that has been one of Louisiana's prerogatives. They are excellent against the run. 8 through the sky that time. Cochran floats it up. That pass was too far. Again going for Bush, but this time Rolliman Hood is able to go with him stride for stride and jump up and make that pass deflection. Another guy who has never been in an all-star game, so 2 perennial snubs going up against each other in this game. Hood in his 9th season and Bush in his 10th. That'll be the matchup. Looks like that's who it is at the top of your screen. 3rd down and 2. Offset eye now to the bottom. And a couple of tight ends for Ron Cochran. Here is Boletsky trying to wrench through, but he is wrenched down. The Revs defense is up to the task again. Dante Grimm and Blake B. Craze with the combo stop on the reigning MVP. It's 4th down. This Revs defense is lethal against the run. 2nd fewest rushing yards allowed in the league a season ago. 67.5 yards per game on average. Only Charleston was better at 63. And this rush defense has showed up and shown out so far this afternoon. Good kick from Marcus Agrippa. Haven't been able to talk about him very much. These teams both have standout punters, and Marcus Agrippa is quite probably the best. He has played 5 seasons in the SFL, and he has been selected to the All-Star game in all 5. Now, part of that is because there aren't that many superstar punters in the league, so there simply aren't as many superstar punters to choose from when compared to, say, wide receivers. But still, Agrippa, the best of the best, even in a small class of players. Randy Squarebush on the carry here, shuffle steps and picks up a couple. Even though his numbers as the number 2 running back last season for Louisiana weren't gaudy, it's a testament to how much this system works when you see that all 3 of the featured ball carriers last year, Colin Hart, the number 1 tailback, Squarebush, the number 2, and Cameron Collier, the fullback, their rushing averages were almost identical. It's kind of crazy. 2nd and 6. Here goes Squarebush again. That'll drop the average. He loses the yards he gained on first down. Alessandro Tomaello has been everywhere in this game. A loss of 4, and now it's 3rd down and 10. The 3 ball carriers last season for Louisiana, Squarebush averaged 4.3 yards per carry. Colin Hart averaged 4.3 yards per carry, and Cameron Collier averaged 4.1. They diversified, and all of them were able to deliver. On 3rd and 10, Utah fires, and it's caught. A gain of 21 on 3rd and 10, and Rego Dinero has his biggest catch as a pro. This was a type of play that worked time and again for Louisiana last season. Even on third down and long like they had there, they're able to link up with Dinero for a gain of 21. It worked with Adam Banks, who joined the team mid-season last year. So many of his catches went for first downs. He leaves to join Minnesota, same team that Colin Hart is now on. And so his replacement, if you will, Rego Dinero, now with a first down catch of his own. And a high catch that time. That's Dinero again. He's money for this Louisiana team. And if you can't have Banks, you might as well have Dinero. I guess that's the offseason approach for General Manager Ross Napoli, Tyler Falk and company. They're able to bring in Dinero to help succeed that void left by Banks. And a gain of 8 with one arm that time. 2nd and 2, nice throw that time. Utah links up with John Michael Suddeth, who has another catch today. Again, just 18 catches as a rookie. He was the number 2 tight end behind Lloyd Graham Jr., who is one of the most prolific tight ends, so it's always hard to find playing time behind him, but he is taking advantage so far of his first opportunity as a number 1 tight end. 3 catches for him, including the lone touchdown for Louisiana. Now from the 31, Utah into traffic again and intercepted for the 5th time. A dangerous throw from Utah, and Adrian Blaine has her first interception as a sophomore. A full handful of giveaways for Tommy Utah now. Blaine, the latest recipient. 3 different members of this vaunted Storm secondary have takeaways. We're just in the 3rd quarter. And remember, Florida has taken advantage of each of the first 4 interceptions that Utah has thrown. 3 touchdowns, including 2 pick sixes, and 1 field goal off of the first 4 picks. Cochran, that was a risky throw, but Vandelay is able to make the catch and then toe the sidelines and picks up 4. One of the things that these 2 teams did so well en route to the playoffs last year was take care of the ball. Louisiana only turned the ball over 21 times last year. That was 5th fewest in the league. And Florida also 21 turnovers. Only 4 teams turned the ball over fewer times than these 2 teams last season, but we've combined for 6 so far here today. 2nd and 6. Cochran floats wide open. Bush has yet another catch. And it has been a return to form for Stephen Bush, who had the worst stat season of his career, as we mentioned. 48 catches for 525 yards. Those were both career lows for Stephen Bush in his 9th season. 3 touchdowns. That's down from 55 catches, 631 yards, and 7 touchdowns in season 17. Only time with fewer than 3 touchdowns was his rookie season in season 10 with Oklahoma City. So still able to score, but did not have the stats last season. And he is already putting up a really strong game. There's J.W. Doyle, his first catch, his first touch today for Florida. He was not used very much, especially on the ground. Another guy, we talked about it for guys on defense for Louisiana like Craze and Blake, who took some time off. Doyle did not play in season 17, returned to season 18. That was his lowest stat year by far, only 19 rushing yards on 13 carries. Give him 8 through the sky that time. Here is Boletsky, nice run for him there, and a first down. Another tackle for Dante Grimm, who has been everywhere so far today, it seems. More than 1,100 touches, more than 5,500 rushing yards, and 58 total touchdowns for Charlie Boletsky in just 3 seasons. Cochran will float it up and swatted down with 2 hands by Rolman Hood. That looks familiar. 2nd time we've seen that from him today. He's going to be wishing that he could pull that down and turn it into an interception, especially if Florida is able to keep the pressure on and score some points on this possession. But Hood now with 2 pass deflections in this game. Again, that looks to be the matchup. Hood against Bush, with Even Arthur, the number 1 corner, against E.J. Minson, the number 1 wide receiver. Minson has only made 1 catch, and Florida has been able to target Bush to high effectiveness so far. The 36, Cochran's pass hits the receiver up high. And then the receiver got hit as well. That was Zarkov, the tight end. The ball hit him, and then the defender hit him right afterwards. Who would want to be a pass catcher in a situation like that? Such a solid team on both ends. Florida, they were 8th in points per game last season, 29.5. Very close to breaking that threshold already here in the third quarter. 3rd down and 10, though. Difficult play for Cochran. Floats it up. It's caught by Vandelay, and he has the first down. 3rd down and 10. Art Vandelay produces a gain of 11. And Cochran able to move the sticks. And 57% on 3rd down, the Storm last year. But Louisiana, such a good defense. They were great at defending 3rd downs last year. Opponents converted 50%. Now you're saying that seems high, 50%. You flip a coin and an opponent might convert. But league average is about 55%. Louisiana's 50% mark was 4th best in the league. But Florida able to get to him there. And speaking of getting to him, the Rev defense gets to Cochran once again. Welcome to the SFL, Neil Rivers. The rookie has his first career sack. 1-on-1 against Greg McDonaldson. What a beat that is for a rookie against a 3-time All-Star right guard. And Rivers wins that battle. 3 sacks last season. Playing for the Albuquerque Adams. He was Louisiana's first-round pick. He shows you why. And again, they run it with Beletsky, but Louisiana is ready for it again. Time and time again, that's Leonard Butler on the stop. We saw Louisiana nullify stud tailbacks en route to that excellent rush defense season again. 67.5 yards allowed on average. Only Charleston allowed fewer, and Charlie Beletsky, the reigning SFL MVP, has not been able to get untracked against this Rev defense so far. 2nd straight 3rd down in double digits. Cochran fires, and again they convert down to the 6-yard line. A gain of 21 on 3rd down and 12. Cochran does it again. All day to throw that time, and a dot to Art Vandelay, his 2nd catch for a 1st down reception on 3rd down and long in just a couple of plays. 3 years as a starting wideout for Portland. Took last season off to join the coaching staff, and now he's back into the mix. 2 big catches for Vandelay. 1st and goal. Here goes Beletsky cracking outside, and he scores. The reigning MVP is into the end zone for the first time in season 19. The Bullet is off and running. 21 total touchdowns for Charlie Beletsky in that MVP season. Beautiful blocking off right tackle. And Louisiana had stopped him up so far in this game. Not that time. Beletsky is on the board. And the Storm go up by 20. It was 21-0 early in this game. Louisiana was able to right the ship for a little bit. Scored 10 straight. But now as Ethan Snead prepares this PAT and knocks it down, that's 10 straight for the Storm, and the 3-time league champs are back up by 3 scores. As we mentioned, 4th all-time meeting between these two new division rivals. The East Division looks totally different this year, and good luck picking the last place team in that league, or that mini league, I should say. It looks like a powerhouse. These two teams, yeah, playoff teams from a season ago. We've also got Jacksonville and the stalwarts Atlanta in that division as well. This league, that division, I should say, could very well come down to Week 14. And who's going to play in Week 14? These two teams. It'll be Louisiana and Florida, round 2. And that game could very well decide how that division shakes out. But Florida with the upper hand so far here in Week 1. There's so much that is still to be determined in a regular season. Week 1 is often produces results that you don't expect. You get some lopsided results that you don't expect between two closely matched teams like you figured these two teams would be, but so far Florida has had it in hand. What does Utah have to say about that? Nice start to this drive and a gain of 8 for Chase Earl. It's been a solid game so far for Earl. was outside of the top 75 in receiving yards last year, just 474. It was his fewest yards and his fewest catches, 46, since his rookie year with St. Louis back in season 14. It's about half as many receiving yards in season 18 as he had in season 17, but he's off to a good start here in season 19. Give him 8 there. Number 8 from under center. He'll toss it out. Squarebush has room to run. Blows through Adrian Blaine and gets the first down. Power running that time from Randy Squarebush. It's a tap on the back of the helmet for Aaron Gooden after he brought him down, the offseason acquisition for Florida. And Squarebush picks up the first down. An average 37 yards per game as one of the three-headed monster in the backfield for the Revs last year. Try to turn this into the Squarebush show this year. He's got the carry again. Up the middle he goes, and a gain of 4. Another tackle for Stephen Black, who has gone over 200 tackles in his career. Nice total for a guy who was in the first game of his 3rd season in the big leagues. The first year in the pros for Squarebush, not gaudy numbers playing behind Colin Hart, who was the feature back, but his numbers in the minor leagues the last 2 seasons were incredible. Continuing to build up his player, continuing to build up his experience, and now he'll get the catch. Trying to accelerate and wrench down right at the line by Ryan Tobin, the converted free safety, maybe a half yard through the air that time for Squarebush. Another tackle for Tobin. Squarebush in the minor leagues, get this, season 4 of the minors, 1,800 rushing yards and 22 touchdowns. Season 5, just the last couple of months, 1,400 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns. He was an absolute beast. 3rd and 6, Utah floats it, and a diving catch across midfield by Chase Earl. What a play! Louisiana's turn to show off an impressive 3rd down and long conversion. Earl cuts around Gooden, dives under Evan Carroll, the number 1 corner for Florida, and is somehow able to make that catch. One of 4 games going on live here in Las Vegas, all coming to you live from HyperX Arena. Squarebush gets that give, picks up a couple. Ryan Tobin again on the stop. It's just such a unique setup, something that I certainly have never been a part of, and I would wager that few of us up here on the stage today have ever been a part of in our lives. And it's just a really cool setup, and shout out to everybody here at the convention that's watching any of the 4 games live right now. Utah steps up in the pocket, fires, and it's intercepted again. That's number 6 for this Florida secondary. Unbelievable. Andrew Francis has his 2nd. Center field out there, read that one perfectly, trying to go on that deep post to Chase Earl. Remember, it worked on that 3rd down just a couple of plays ago. Not that time. 6 interceptions is an unreal figure in this league. If you're used to professional football and you know that the MO is quarterbacks got to take care of the ball, obviously, but quarterbacks throw picks in this league. They're usually good for 1 or 2 per game. 6, though, is unheard of. Cochran fires. Falling back to make that catch is Art Vandelay. You see the numbers there. Already 5 grabs for Vandelay. Look at that for Bush. 6 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown. Again, 525 yards all season last year. Regular season, yes, for Stephen Bush, and already close to the century mark here in week 1. Split back set and 3 wides for Cochran. Half a minute to go in the 3rd quarter, another dot for Cochran. He has looked really solid today when given the time. And there is Bush, who goes over the 100-yard mark here in the 3rd quarter. Cochran gets good protection, floats it up. Bush gets inside positioning against the great free safety Mike Ryan, all-star from a season ago. And Bush over 100 yards. Fittingly, a guy that does all the little things right. And today for Bush, everything's zen. Over 100 receiving yards, and he's not done. Florida doesn't have to snap it, but they will. Again, they will throw again over the middle. They go. Louisiana has one of the best pairs of safeties in the league in Ryan and Bennett, but Florida has been able to exploit them time and time again. Vandelay with his 6th catch, and that will end the 3rd quarter. The Storm on top by 21. You are watching the Simulation Football League live from HyperX Arena in Las Vegas. One more quarter still to play in regulation. Florida on top of Louisiana 31-10. Tim Hackett here with you live from Las Vegas by way of Fort Lauderdale. Happy to have you with us. From the 44, Cochran floats it into traffic, looking for Ron Haynes, the rookie, and Dante Grimm, the sophomore, had his back to the ball, but fortunately for him, the throw went right into his back. 7 pass deflections, 2 picks, and a touchdown as a rookie. Only 2 members of this Louisiana secondary scored touchdowns. Ralman Hood in his 8th season and Dante Grimm in his 1st. And man they call the Grim Reaper has been very busy so far here this evening. 2nd and 10. Cochran's sidearm throw out of the hands of Bush that time. And guess who was there defensively? It's Grimm, back-to-back defensive plays. And what's interesting now about the SFL, it used to be 1 year in the minor leagues and done if you were lucky. Sometimes you had to stick around for 2 or maybe even 3 seasons if you didn't get your name called in the draft at your first opportunity. But now you have the opportunity to have two-way players. Guys go back to the minor leagues to continue to get experience. That's what Dante Grimm and Randy Squarebush, for that matter, did for Louisiana, trying to pay dividends here in their second seasons in the pros. Boletsky with a couple of spins, and he's wrenched down at the end of the run by Tank Bennett. We mentioned these safeties for Louisiana. They're excellent. Mike Ryan, 2 All-Star trips in 3 seasons. Tank Bennett, 4 All-Star trips in 8. Bennett averages 130 tackles per season. That's crazy. He's 10th all-time in that category, and that was a 3rd down stop on Boletsky, and so Marcus Agrippa will punt it away. Deep into the corner, no chance at a return for De Niro. It bounces towards the pylon and out at the 1-yard line. The best punter in the SFL has arrived in season 19, Marcus Agrippa, doing what he does best. This was a beauty. It's the first time that Florida has not scored off of a takeaway. They were 5 of their first 5, so that luck was bound to run out. It is Vegas after all, but they do pin Louisiana at the 1. What can Utah do to get out of these dire straits? He'll throw, and that helps. It's just, any little bit helps when you're at the 1-yard line, and it's just a gain of 3, but John Michael Sudduth has another catch. Another veteran of this league, member of the broadcast team, he's here in the house today. Louisiana has a really good contingent, as they often do. A lot of them are in front of me here in Las Vegas, trying to see if their team can mount a comeback, but time is running out. Squarebush with his patented blue arm sleeves. Maybe one. Aaron Gooden on that stop. And he had 73 tackles, 8 TFLs, 7 pass deflections last year with DC. Ryan Tobin, get this, 85 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 7 pass deflections as a free safety for Florida. Very similar numbers, playing different positions for different teams. Funny how that works. 3rd down and 6, and a critical moment in this game, you would think, for Louisiana. Utah with traffic, fire is knocked away and nearly picked again, and it was the aforementioned Ryan Tobin at the scene of the crime defensively for the Storm. It'll be a 3 and outs, and that is what excellent special teams can give you. Not every team in this league has invested in a marquee punter. Again, for my money, and I'm certainly not alone in this opinion, Agrippa, the best of the best. Louisiana's got a standout punter of their own in Walter Melodician, and he's going to try to do some work with his heels on the back of the end zone. Waiting is Vandelay, and he's stuck at the 40-yard line. So it's a net of 36 for Melodician. All told, not a terrible situation, but the field position game works beautifully for Florida. And even though they had to punt it away after Louisiana made the stop on 3rd down on Florida's previous offensive set, the Storm will get the ball back on the 40, trying to ice this game. 9 minutes and 5 seconds left, on top by 3 scores. From under center, Cochran steps up. Oh, and a diving attempt made over the middle. That's Ron Haynes, the rookie tight end. How about that athleticism from a rookie and from a tight end? But unfortunately for him, the throw from Cochran was a little bit too far out of his reach, and nobody had a chance at that one. Haynes, 19 catches, 270 yards, and 2 touchdowns. playing for the Madison Lynx in the minor leagues, and he became Florida's first-round pick, their 15th overall selection in the most recent SFL draft just about a month ago. Second down from the holster set. Cochran, quick hitter this way. That one's caught, and then taken out of bounds immediately is Stephen Bush. Rolliman Hood makes that tackle. Ninth-year corner from Greensboro, North Carolina. And that's been the matchup so far today, and advantage Stephen Bush in that head-to-head so far. Third down and 4, Boletsky, a spin move, and again, Louisiana is there to stop him. Tank Bennett, who is 10th all-time in career tackles as a strong safety, add another one to that list. Before today, he was 5 away from 9th place. I would venture to guess that he is darn close to that, and he's 2 interceptions away from 50 in his career. So he's going to have 150 tackles and 50 interceptions. It's been a standout career for Tank Bennett, and he stops Boletsky short of the first down once again. And here comes Ethan Sneed, another deep field goal, and that one's good, officially from 49. So Sneed has hit from 49, and he's hit from 51, and Florida extends the lead. It's 34-10. (21-0) Florida. Louisiana then rallied to make it 21-10, and it's been all Storm since. They've scored the last 13 points, and they have their largest lead of the ball game. They're playing the long game, so they don't score directly off of that interception from Andrew Francis. As we mentioned, the first time today that the Storm did not put up points directly after a takeaway, but how about points indirectly after a takeaway? Agrippa's punts pins Louisiana at the 1. The Revs gain only 4 yards and then punt it away. Florida starts at the 40-yard line. Yeah, they only moved the ball about 6 or 7 yards, but that was enough to give Sneed a more makeable field goal that he didn't have on the previous possession. So that's the long game, and even more importantly at this time, something that kills a lot of clock for Louisiana's comeback hopes. Here's Utah firing into traffic, and a great catch from Da Vinci. Somehow pulls that one down away from Andrew Francis. Francis and Davidson have combined for 5 picks today, but Utah still attacking their half of the field. Look at this catch from Da Vinci. Davidson was right there with Adam Jones lurking underneath as well. But a nice high point catch from Lyric Da Vinci. Had a strong year as the number 1 tight end for Charleston. Averaged better than 16 yards per catch. Top 15 mark in the league. Squarebush's carry gets him about 4. Dominguez makes the stop. And so Da Vinci now gets the opportunity to be a standout wideout for the first time. Technically the number 2 wideout on this team behind Earl, but similar numbers to what Earl has put up over his career. Earl, of course, his whole career as a wide receiver, and Da Vinci, his whole career as a tight end. 2nd and 6, Utah this way. It's caught again. John Michael Suddeth with a great impression on his new team, and they're loving it here at the convention as well. Trying to identify where the Revs crowd has gone. There they go, and they're at the top left. That's the stage right side of the seats, looking all the way across the pond to check out their team and see if they might be able to come back. John Michael Suddeth made 18 catches as a rookie with Baltimore last year en route to an SFL championship. He's made 6 catches already here tonight. Squarebush sidesteps, picks up 6. Francis makes that stop. We talked about the excellence and the longevity of Tank Bennett. How about the strong safety on the other side? Andrew Francis, he's 11th all-time in total tackles with 1,024 before today. Tank Bennett is the guy he's chasing, 10th place all-time. So this game features 2 players in the top 10 all-time in tackles, Bennett and Slyn Shady. And Squarebush is hit behind the line by Stephen Black. 2 players in the top 10 all-time in tackles, and 1 more that will be before this season's over in Andrew Francis, because Bennett is about to pass Espen Royale for 9th most tackles all time, and Bennett is about to pass Rael, and Francis is hot on the heels of both of those standout players. 3rd down and 5 with 6 minutes left in regulation. Utah over the middle of the field, swatted, and then Black, the linebacker, playing deep safety, helping to cover Chase Earl. And nothing doing offensively for Louisiana on 3rd down once again. Florida has been lethal on 3rd downs. It's one of their calling cards. This is an elite franchise, as we've said. This defense has been really good over the course of their existence. So has Louisiana's, but Florida has really set the standard for what an elite defense looks like. Makeable field goal here for Otis Boudreaux, and he buries it from 49. So these two kickers have been flawless today, and their stat lines are the same. Sneed good from 51 and from 49. Boudreaux good from 51 and from 49. Otis missed only 1 field goal last year in his record-setting campaign, and that field goal was one that was blocked. 5:49 left in regulation. It's now a 21-point game again. Both teams in possession of all 3 timeouts, so Boudreaux will kick it away. Turnable for Vandelay. He gets to 23-yard line, and what a season it was for Otis Boudreaux. 1st-round pick, and I remember, because he wouldn't let us forget for the longest time, people were incredulous when he was a 1st-round pick, and we had to explain, look, we weren't surprised that you were a 1st-round pick. We were just surprised that a kicker was a 1st-round pick, a top 10 pick, no less, and frankly, that started a trend. We've seen special teams players taken in the 1st round and high in the 1st round ever since, including this most recent draft with Minnesota taking Mickey Malillo in the 1st round. So it was a surprise as Beletsky picks up 7 through the air. It was a surprise at that time to see a kicker be drafted so high in the 1st round by Las Vegas at that time. And Boudreaux's rookie season was good. It wasn't amazing or anything, but it certainly wasn't bad. It was good, but he has improved every year since, en route to Player of the Year, or Special Teams Player of the Year honors a season ago. Beletsky with that give, stood up once again. Grimm on the tackle, as well as Nathan Blake. His 7th total season in the SFL, 3rd year with Louisiana. Again, he did not play in season 17 or season 18, but Ross Napoli and Gerald Smith and company getting their old friend back out of mini retirement to help shore up these linebacking core as Cochran's pass looking for Bush again, covered very well by Louisiana that time. That will force a punt from Agrippa, and that was desperately needed by this Louisiana defense. You're down 3 scores with under 5 minutes to go, but mission number 1 accomplished. You're going to force Florida off the field in short order. Now you have to get the offense back onto the field and move it down the field as quickly as possible, and of course avoid the turnover that has plagued Tommy Utah and company this whole game. Line of scrimmage is at the 30-yard line. Agrippa's punt is past the other 30-yard line. A beauty. A net of 39 at the end of the play. Agrippa does his job. So can Tommy Utah and the Louisiana offense right the ship? Utah has not been the biggest, flashiest quarterback in his time in the SFL. He was 20th in the league in passing yards last season and last in the league among qualified quarterbacks in passing touchdowns with just 13. But he's going to need a few here to lead a comeback. He wants it all into traffic. He's picked off again. Make it 7 for this Florida defense. Make it 4 for Ryan Davidson. And that might just be the nail in the coffin. An unbelievable defensive performance by one of the best secondaries in the SFL. This was set to be a secondary showdown. We know how good Louisiana is at taking the ball away. They have been that way for the last couple of seasons, especially with Mike Ryan as the starting free safety. We know all about his exploits, but Florida, 28 takeaways last season. That was just 12th in the league. They've now got 7 takeaways already in this game. Another stop by this Louisiana defense. That's Blake again making the stop against Boletsky. And the turnover differential, look at the average for Boletsky, 1.8 yards per carry for a guy who averaged 5.9 last season, best among running backs that played the whole season. Now, Warren Murray did average better than 6 yards per carry for Baltimore, but he only played half the season. Only 2 yards for Charlie that time. Florida in no hurry, and why would they be? There's Boletsky, breaks over the first hit, and that's the nicest run we've seen out of Boletsky in a while. Gain of 9 and a first. Oh, Chance Wall is slow to get up. Talk about injury to insult for Louisiana. Dante Grimm cannot believe it. A hard collision with Gene Judy, the veteran center of this Florida offensive line. They've got 3 standouts. Greg McDonaldson, Joseph Wade on the inside, and the rookie Caden Poirier on the outside. And that collision with the center, Judy, has knocked Chance Wall out of the game, at least for now. Boletsky, nowhere to go. And Louisiana is trailing by 21 now with 3:40 to go. It's safe to say they're likely to lose this game at this point. But talk about silver linings for this team. You hold Charlie Boletsky, who was absolutely dominant last season. He is averaging 2 yards per carry in this game. He totaled nearly 1,500 rushing yards, again, nearly 6 yards per carry, and 20 rushing touchdowns. Yeah, he's found the end zone once today, but other than that, he has done absolutely nothing. This Revs defense has been good. It's been the Florida defense that has been the story of the game. Another hit right on the line by Leonard Butler, who has had an excellent game. You see it there, 4 tackles and 2 sacks for the 5th-year defensive end. And Charlie Boletsky has had absolutely nothing to say about this game. 21 points out of the gates for Florida. 14 points by the defense. Take that away, it's a 20-13 game. So the offense has really only been responsible for those 20 points. Of course, the defense has helped them immensely with all of those takeaways. They're now up to 7 in this game. Turnover differential +6. Cochran under pressure, under siege, and down he goes again. It's a hat trick of sacks for Leonard Butler Sr. And there have been a couple of silver linings for Gerald Smith and Ross Napoli in the brass here for Louisiana. That's one of them. This front for the Revs, which looks very different than it did a season ago. Different personnel, similar results so far. This front has been terrific. Sacking Cochran a handful of times and stopping Boletsky from ever really firing. 2-minute warning here from Fort Lauderdale. You're watching the Simulation Football League live from HyperX Arena in Las Vegas. Welcome back to the eye. Marcus Agrippa back out onto the fields, trying to do his thing and pin Louisiana back deep once again. Line of scrimmage is at the 48. Sends that with some angle. Fair catch called for by De Niro. So a net of 35 again for Agrippa. But again, the hang time and the spot inside the 20 was more important there. So the Rev defense does the job once again, preventing Florida from putting any more points on the board. But the reality is this: Louisiana needs 3 touchdowns, and they have less than 2 minutes with which to come up with those. Stranger things have happened, as we like to say here in the SFL. The comeback trail will have to start from the 13. Utah takes a few steps back, tosses it out to Squarebush. He is ushered out of bounds. Yes, he is. So well done by Squarebush to get out of bounds, stopping the clock there. That's Kevin Mack, who was able to help usher Squarebush out. See, a couple of backups are now in for the Storm. That's Evan Carroll. Looks like he's going to move to the left side of the defense. He does not reside there often. Davidson might be out of the game after picking off 4 passes. Utah play action, haven't seen that much. Fires wide open over the middle of the field, and that's a big gain out to the 44-yard line for Cameron Collier. The fullback has his first touch of the game in the final 2 minutes of regulation. A big catch for the fullback. He's one of the most versatile fullbacks in the league. Get this, last year 33 catches, 33 carries. Now he was much more electric as a receiver, not a surprise. But he was good as a fullback, 4.1 yards per carry, but more than 2 times that, 8.7 yards per catch as a fullback. So Collier is a legitimate threat in this passing offense. That's the first time they use him here. Double-digit gain from the 44. Louisiana took their first timeout, by the way. Another interception. Make it 8 for this Florida Storm defense. And the 12th-year veteran, Evan Carroll, has joined the party. His first interception today. The 8th by this Florida defense, taking it away from John Michael Suddeth. And this lethal Storm secondary strikes yet again. It's an Elite 8 for Florida. Look, we're all playing armchair analysts here today as most of us flying solo here in the broadcast booth. Ready for the most basic analysis you'll ever hear? Boletsky, oh, check that. That's actually going to be the number 2 running back, Nathan Smith, on that. Nope, I beg your pardon, looking at the wrong side. Stanley Nordalis, my apologies, gets that carry for Florida. Apologies there. Ready for the most basic analysis you'll ever hear. You aren't winning a game in this league if you throw 8 interceptions and your turnover differential is -7. It is simply impossible to make up that ground. And the second stringers are now in for the Storm. Mike Hatt under center. He'll give it to Nordalis. And different running back, same result. The Revs have been everywhere. Mike Ryan has been pretty quiet today by his standards. 11 interceptions last season, including picks in 11 straight games dating back to the season before. He was in a 4-way tie for second place in the league in interceptions with those 11 takeaways. He's been kind of quiet today, but helps to make that stop on Stanley Nordalis, who's been the longtime backup running back for this Storm team. 3rd down and 5 from Mike Hatt. Here goes Nordalis again. Runs into the thick of the defense. Ryan is there. So is Slyn Shady, the middle linebacker. I haven't heard too much from him. Went over 1,000 career tackles last season. 7-time All-Star in his first 9 seasons in the league. Louisiana spent their final 2 timeouts on the first 2 plays of this possession. And so now they can only watch as the time starts to tick away. Agrippa back to punt once again. 3 other games in action right now here from Vegas. And it sounds like, as I crane my head to see what the status is from some of the other ones, it sounds like we've got some good ones here. Arcing punt from Agrippa, and Louisiana will start at the 10. So what's coming up next for Florida? Take a look at the upcoming schedule for both of these 2 teams with 41 seconds left. Florida stays at home. They will take on Fort Worth next. Then at Las Vegas versus San Diego. And then their bye up next for Louisiana at Denver versus Lone Star, the league runners-up from last year. And then at Arizona. So Louisiana on the road, 3 of their first 4 games. From the 10, Utah's pass is deflected again. Man, oh man, Tommy Utah is going to be having nightmares about this Florida secondary. Evan Carroll is still in the game because Florida only has so many defensive backs that they can put in. So Davidson is done. Christian Paul is now playing the number 1 corner spot. That moves Carroll over there. And that's 5 interceptions for Utah targeting that right sideline. And if you count the right hash mark and in, 7 of his 8 interceptions have come there. Near side, Utah will target Christian Paul. Earl makes that catch, and there is the injury report on Chance Wall. His first game as the number 1 defensive tackle for Louisiana. He is injured, and with a game that looks like this, it's the opportunity for me to say I love about this league. It's a game, right? We know that. We'll pull back the curtain here slightly. The fact that they make it so that injuries aren't season-ending, I love that about this league. Utah's pass is caught, first down, and a gain of 14. Nicely done for Lyric Da Vinci. And yeah, does it drop the realism of it slightly? Sure, you can make that argument. Players in professional sports get injured all the time as Utah spikes it, which is an unfortunate reality. Obviously, never like to see pro athletes or college athletes, whatever, get injured and eliminate part or maybe even all of their season or, yeah, even all of their career. But so, yeah, does it drop the realism? Maybe you could argue that, but the fact that Chance Wall is going to be back out there and playing for Louisiana next week when they take on Denver, I think is a great thing. How much he could do to stop this onslaught here today. Utah's pass swatted away again. That's Romel Hernandez. Carroll's got his arms up. Just about everybody has gotten involved. There are 5 standouts on this Florida secondary. 4 of them have interceptions. Poor Adam Jones probably has to be thinking, what do I have to do to get a takeaway in this game? Utah's thrown 8 picks. An unheard of number. Off the top of my head, and we'll get it checked for you, I imagine that is the most in SFL history. I know we've talked about it before on games. Third down, floats it up. Da Vinci has a step behind the defense. That's Carroll got caught napping a little bit, and Lyric Da Vinci will get Louisiana into enemy territory. Utah hustles back to the line. He will snap it. Louisiana will have time for one more play. Utah able to spike it with 3 seconds left. It's full-on stat padding territory now for the Revs, but that was a nice catch for Lyric Da Vinci, able to burn Evan Carroll. That does not happen very often, but this time of the game, Carroll started to take some time off, it looks like. So the last play of regulation time. Louisiana will set up 4 to the top from the 41-yard line. Hail Mary situation. Utah shuffles, fires into the end zone. Do they have another one? They do. It's 9 interceptions for the Storm defense. A fitting way to end a defensive showcase for one of the best defenses in the league. 9 takeaways by the Florida secondary. That's the story of the game. The defense shuts down Utah and the Revs. And this post-game highlight package is going to be all interceptions, I can assure you. The Florida defense, 4th best in the SFL last year, averaging just 23 points allowed. And their first game here in season 19, they allowed just 13 points on the strength of 9 interceptions by 4 different members of this secondary. Unlike anything we've ever really seen in this league, 9 interceptions thrown by a quarterback. The most I've ever seen, to be sure. And we'll do some stat checking on if that is an SFL record, an inauspicious record, to be sure, for Tommy Utah, who just threw 21 interceptions a season ago in a league where quarterbacks, as I say before, average an interception or 2 usually a game. That was 6th fewest in the league, 21, and he threw 9. Almost a third of that mark in just game 1 here in season 19. Well, what I've learned from talking to league veterans here in the league is that week 1, you can use the word crapshoot. You can throw it out the window. Florida's going to revel in this. This is a high-quality win against one of the top 4 teams from a season ago, a team that fully believes that it can get back to that position here in season 19. This is a high-quality win for Florida. But for Louisiana, for Gerald Smith, the head coaching company, you got to just throw this game out. There are a lot of plays I think you can completely throw out as well, but mentally and emotionally, especially for Utah, you throw this game out completely. Make sure that things like this never happen again and move on to week 2, because Louisiana's got Denver up next and the Nightwings trying to rally back and become one of the preeminent teams again. No surprise, Ryan Davidson is the player of the game. I can count on one hand the number of times I've seen a corner as the MVP of a game here in the SFL, but talk about well-deserved. 4 interceptions, including 2 defensive touchdowns. His scores are the difference. His 2 touchdowns put Florida up 14-0, and the Storm never looked back. Your final score here from Fort Lauderdale, Florida 34, Louisiana 13. For Cameron Irvine, Mike Daggs, Andrew Rustelli, the crew from Next Level Sports, and all of us here at the SFL, I've been Tim Hackett. It's been a pleasure to be a part of this one. We'll see you next time. Block 3 from the SFL convention in Las Vegas is coming up soon. We'll see you next time. Until then, so long.